For more, I'm joined by Recruiter.com CEO Evan Sohn. Evan, it's great to have you back here. And it does seem like the labor market strength, even from the Beige Book yesterday, is broadly continuing. Would you say that's true?
I completely agree. And thanks again for having me on your show, Kelly. You know, I think what we're seeing, and if you start tying all the numbers together, what you're really seeing happen sort of last month, which took everyone by surprise, is we think companies are overhiring. They're stocking up on their talent the way if there's a supply chain problem of semiconductors, you're going to overbuy and overpurchase. So we're seeing the companies that are financially able to, instead of making 3 hires, go make 4 hires, knowing that there's going to be a job hopper among one of those 4.
Wow. So job hoppers, too, we've talked about this as such a pandemic phenomenon. Is it persisting, or are people kind of settling back into more traditional job lengths, durations, or not?
So we actually believe that while the Great Resignation will sort of taper off by the summer, and as the Moody's economist said, the worker collar market will really sort of taper down also this year, we believe the job hopper economy is here to stay. People it's easier to transition from a job to a job. Certainly, if we're seeing the rise of remote work, right? If I'm working remotely, my office doesn't change, right? Maybe my email does, but where I work doesn't actually change. And if we're seeing that it's easier to apply to a job, it's easier to interview for a job, and it doesn't matter where I work, and we remove the stigma of moving around from company to company, the job hopper economy is going to persist even beyond 22.
It sounds great for workers, but what about for firms who have to spend a lot of time training people and then filling and constantly backfilling these roles?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a huge challenge. And you saw companies like Goldman Sachs and Starbucks report numbers that were surprising in the amount of money that they're spending on either hiring talent or retention or training, et cetera. And I think we're going to see that. And I think companies are rethinking how they build their benches of talent, over hiring of talent. I met with a global head of talent the other day, and she was saying to me, you know, we don't have a hiring problem, we have an attrition problem, and really focusing on why people are actually leaving their employers today.
And you've brought that up a couple of times with us, Evan, and it's certainly focused my mind. You realize that when you're looking out there, there's more retention bonuses and efforts to keep people past the 6-month mark and all that kind of thing. I just want to point out for people ahead of tomorrow's report, some granular data you have shows the most hiring activity in architecture, engineering, IT still strong, obviously. Anything with hospitals and healthcare, we're seeing high demand, lower demand actually for telecom and consumer goods. So, you know, I guess the main macro concern here is that either the Omicron spread would slow the job market. Doesn't look like that's happened. You know, obviously maybe the economy weakens depending on how the Ukrainian situation plays out. Too soon to know the impact. In the meantime, it still looks like we're going pretty strong.
By the way, the other industry that really saw a spike was automotive. And engineering is probably automotive engineering when you think about it. So it's probably that this new, we're seeing that out of the State of the Union, the growth of manufacturing of automotive in the U.S. And the Recruiter Index really showed the growth of the automotive industry and the engineering industry in terms of spikes of demand.
Are there any regional trends you're picking up on?
Yeah, so we started, we have a partnership with a company called Revelio Labs, and we're really tracking transitions. Obviously, so the New York area, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania actually have the most number of open jobs today. And Virginia, Virginia Beach is the city with the least number of transitions. So if you're looking to hire in the New York area, you're going to be under a bigger challenge. If you find a candidate from Virginia Beach, they're probably less likely to leave.
Wow, very interesting. And finally, on wages, which is going to become such a crucial part of the conversation, you kind of hinted here at the pressures that we're seeing, but any signs of those wage pressures abating?
No, we're still seeing wages increase month over month. We're seeing the recruiters, more and more recruiters focused in the $40,000 and up jobs. So those are really the more knowledge worker areas. We're seeing wage increase across the board and really aligning that. But, you know, still in the top 3 priorities, remote work is still there. And we're still seeing remote really being a huge percentage of the jobs that the recruiters and the recruiters are looking for and that the candidates actually want.